Special meeting, wait a minute now. Regular meeting, that was the last page. Regular meeting, November 26, 2002. We'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The paths of our lives are filled with peaks and valleys. When we are on top of our peaks, we become so self-satisfied that we tend to ignore the things of importance. When we are in the valleys, we feel a sense of abandon and again can focus only on what is directly ahead. Remind us, Lord, as you do in nature, that all above the tree line on the mountaintops are barren, and only in the valleys can we find the opportunity for true growth. We thank you for guiding this council through these past couple of years, through these peaks and valleys and and please continue to watch over and guide the new incoming council to traverse these terrains. We ask in your name, amen.
Amen.
Could we have a roll call, please?
Present.
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 Present. We start off with some ceremonial matters today. First is the award certificates for recognition for City Beautiful Award Program. This is a program that was started by the council at one of our goal-setting sessions back in April, and we're trying to give credit to these people that are trying to make the city a better place to live. And we'll start off with, let's see, I think I'm going to get up here and go down to the podium so I can hand these out. I can do this, can't I?
Sure.
Sure. Okay, there we go. First, we'll start off with the Newman Historical Society. This is in recognition of placement and renovation of the old Orristimble Schoolhouse. Mary, you want to come up here and get this? There you are. It's our small token of appreciation for what you've done, and did a fantastic job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You want to say something?
Well, this goes to a lot of people. I couldn't have done it by myself, and unfortunate Bob and Tom are gone. Donna and Pat have worked real hard on it, and a lot of people in Newman. My son spent a lot of hours, and he came tonight. Spent a lot of hours under the house at nighttime with little lights working, putting in the plumbing and electricity. When we brought it down, it had nothing in it. So we had a good time. We learned a lot. We had a lot of help from a lot of people, and we'd like to say thank you very much. Thank you to the City Council and Cleve also.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Okay, now I should have kept you up here. First one happens to be these are the Adopt-A-Pot programs, and we have these.
Mayor,
yes.
Isn't there one more under the?
Yes, there is. I'm sorry, I hit it on the bottom there.
Okay.
Sorry. Must just right over here by me, and then don't run out. Stay right there. This one is another City Beautiful Special Recognition Award to the Newman Rotary Club in recognition of entry sign recognizing service clubs and churches. Anybody here representing the Rotary Club?
Yeah. There we go.
Besides you. Mr. Joe Evans. Joe, there you go. Thank you very much. Very good. You want to say anything? All right, now we get to the Adopt-A-Pot program. We had 28 pots, I believe it is, out there, and we installed these. There was a group that Susan Mattis had gotten together to come down and plant them. We had a large crowd there, and then after we planted them, we said, now what are we going to do? We don't have anyone to maintain them. So Susan again got some people together, and I believe who was it? Kathy Ponce de Leon, I believe, really got started on this too. So anyway, the pots have all been adopted, and the first one that I have on the top here is from the Newman Historical Society. And I don't know who, I guess all of you chip in and do that at different times.
Pauline's been taking care of it, transplanting and planting and pulling out weeds, and so Pauline Washington, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And you want to see that she gets that, or you want to put it up there, whatever? Okay, thanks, Mary. Next, we have Corrine Strayhorn. Corrine isn't here tonight, so let me put this aside. She has the pot right out here in front of the police station, I believe. Next, we have Kathy Ponce de Leon and her family that have, I believe they have 2 pots here. And
Actually, it's 4.
4? 4, wow.
Inger has 2 pots, and Felisa and I each have 1 pot. And I would like to say one other thing. We do have a waiting list of people that are interested in adopting a pot, so it's kind of nice to know there are that many people interested to do such a nice thing for Newman.
Thank you very much. The next one is the Newman Women's League. Anyone from the Newman Women's League here? Okay, we have 2 people here. Hi, how are you, Valerie? Good. One of you, you're president of this, or I thought you were.
But I'll let Valerie speak if that's okay.
Sure.
Oh, put my wife on the spot.
What would you like to talk about, Valerie?
Well, I really didn't know that I was speaking until I got here, but I have done a lot of weeding and just plucking of different dead parts of the plants downtown. So I really have enjoyed being able to serve the community through the Adopt a Pot program as a member of the Newman Women's League.
Thank you very much. And we could get Tim to say a few words if you wanted. No?
You know, when you're president, all of a sudden you just feel like you can say everything. I really appreciate Valerie stepping up and saying something, but this organization, the Newman Women's League, has been here in Newman since 1968, and they are a viable service club of a group of wonderful people, and I really appreciate their help coming out, and many times when we're out there with our hands in the pots, some people come by and say, "Are you digging those up and taking them away?" especially when you're supposed to trim things back. So I always encourage the members to wear identification that they are with the Newman Women's League. So if you see us on the corner, please, we're not ripping out the plants. We're just maintaining them.
Thank you. The next one is Joe and Kathy Evans. Come on, which one of you are coming up here? Come on, Joe's been up there before. Kathy, you come up here. Kathy's got to come up here. Here you are, Kathy. We thank you very much. You want to say something? Oh, come on. Next one is Jan Lassiter. I believe Jan's not here. Jan has the 2 closest to the St. George Hotel.
She's in Washington for Thanksgiving.
Oh, is she? Well, okay. We'll say
Hey,
the
Dave.
word if she gets back.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
forgot your wife.
Look up there.
I didn't.
Well,
I
look
didn't
on the screen
forget.
there.
Oh,
Is it
you have them in order, don't you? See, I was saving that for the end.
I'm sorry.
On purpose, I did that.
I'm
All
sorry. I
right,
blew it.
but no, that's all right. You leave it there. And the other 2 pots across from the theater are my wife's, and I really have to get her up. Come here, Mary. I had to get up here because we had went to a Rotary dinner last month, or I guess in September, and I forgot to introduce her. And then I went the following day to a League of Cities conference in Long Beach, and I forgot to introduce her. So I've got to get her up here now. So anyway, these are for yours, and we appreciate all you've done there. And would you like to say a few words?
I shouldn't, but I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and my husband's also helping me with my pups.
Next one then is, well, Jan, she's someplace else. Now we have, you didn't tell me that was back there. No. Mattis Newspapers. I don't see Susan here.
Dean's here.
Dean, would you like to take this one for Mattis Newspaper? Pardon? Oh, you might as well.
Take your own picture.
You take advantage of everybody else. You might get up here too. Anyway, like for you to give that to Susan and told her what a wonderful job she's done, not only with the pots that she has, but the organization of the whole thing. And that we'll find some other things for her to do if she'd like in her spare time. Thank you, Dean. The next is Bank of the West. Is there anyone here from Bank of the West? I don't see anyone I
Don't see
recognize,
anyone.
so we'll put that aside and give that to someone from there.
Little Nora.
Next is Newman Girl Scouts. Anyone from the Newman Girl Scouts
A
here?
bunch of them.
Oh, a whole bunch of them, yeah. Now, they have the pots, I believe, down on Merced Street. Is that right?
Hi,
Down
Asia.
on one of the corners
That's
down there?
Actually,
All
they
right.
have one at Bank of the West also.
Fresno and Maine, okay. Okay. And could I have your names?
Joy Gonzalez.
Danielle Pound, Nikki Jimenez, Carly Thompson, Asia Fantasia.
Yay.
And Carrie Thompson.
Thank you. Thank all of you very much.
That's Uncle John over there.
Uncle John. Okay. Thank you very much
Cousin
for
John.
all your work you've done down there.
Good thing she can't vote yet.
Thank you. Just see if we have the same one there. Next is Shirley McConnell.
Yay.
She left her piano playing down at the theater for us tonight to come up here and get this. And Shirley I see her working about 3 pots down there. 4? Okay. And
said I would like to do a pot. Susan said, well, there's those 4 over there. Choose one. And I said, well, if I'm down here to do 1, I might as well do 4. So it takes me about an hour, and I go home with a stiff back, but it's okay because I love the garden, and it's fun, and it's making Newman look beautiful. And I came here to this town 60 years ago, and it certainly has changed a bit, but where I live, it's still good old Newman. Thanks very much.
thank you very much. Thank you. The next one is Superior Truck Lines. Anyone from Superior Truck Lines here? No? We'll get that to them. The OHS Student Council. Is there anybody? There we go. And your name is?
Jason Crinklaw? I'll take this from you.
Not related to you,
God, I don't know. I'm not the one in the doghouse. Mary, on the couch? Well, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. And on behalf of my student council, I'd just like to thank you guys. The community does so much for us. You guys buy our tickets for pasta, for tri-tip. You guys are what makes us run along nice and smoothly, and it's the very least that we could do. And if you guys ever need any labor work, you're doing anything, you guys know where to find us. No personal backyard stuff. It's not any of the community. Just, you guys know where to find us, and we're happy to do it.
Thank you very much, Jason. Thank you. Next we have Rose Lucas and Lolly Dompey. And again, we want to thank you very much for your work with these pots. And do you have anything to say?
Well, I noticed that your invocation recognized the guidance we get from nature. And I appreciate that very much, and I think that's what our pots are for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next we have Ed and Mary Williams. I don't see
No, they're
either
not
one of them here. Francis Burnett.
No, she's not here.
All right, Cub Scout pack number 83. And you're back. You know, I didn't have you say your name while you were here before, so you got
I'm Karen Freitas. I think I said that before, and I am with many organizations here. I'm also with the Girl Scouts as well. But my father had a saying, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." And when I was a younger child, I thought that was quite silly, but I think it's apropos as we are out there making the community look beautiful through the Adopt a Pop program. And the the Cub Scouts appreciate the Newman and Gustine Rotary sponsorship, and we just want to thank them as well. And all of you that participated in the canned food drive on Saturday, thank you so very kindly. We really appreciate it, and we hope to see you out there when we ring the bell for the Salvation Army. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And last but not least, and she probably didn't even know about this, Ferris Larson for the 2 pots that the city put in right at the theater to keep people from using that as a parking lot. And Ferris not only planted those and takes care of those, but she also hoses down as far as her 100-foot hose will reach up one side, one part of the street and down the other. So if we get her a 500-foot hose, I think she'll take care of the whole downtown. So we're going to work on that. Cleve, can we afford that? Okay. All right, that's all I have here. And again, we just want to thank everyone for all their hard work, and we really appreciate it. All right. Next we have item number 6 was resolution number 2002, next number, a resolution declaring the results of the municipal election held on November 5th, 2002. Cleve, you want to?
I don't think there's much to say. You have the resolution and a copy of or the numbers are included in the resolution certifying the election. This is what's necessary to take care of this. Following this item, the swearing in of the mayor and the new council members will take place.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 5-0. We come to item number 7. I'm going to turn this over to Cleve.
Oh, I'd just like to say before I step
Oh,
down.
I'm sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
To me, I'm really glad I had the opportunity to serve the citizens of this community. I hope I did a good job for you. It's been a very fun 3 years. I've really enjoyed it. But I'm finding that the meetings are getting in the way of my traveling. So I'm stepping down. So anyhow, it's been a lot of fun, and goodbye.
I really wasn't going to say anything, but since Tom did, why, I'll have to say basically the same, that it's been a great couple of, actually 4 years on the council. Been a great last 2 years, and I wish John and all our new council the best of luck. Thank you.
Ditto.
Okay, with that, the next item of business before John takes over is we need to swear in the new officers. So I believe if we could, I'll come around to the back of the podium. We can stand here at the back, and we'll take care of that. We can have, where's Charles? Charles Marquez, if he can come up too. We can do all three of them, unless you want to do it.
What?
I'll let you guys.
It'll be one word difference.
Oh, okay.
What's
What's your name?
Okay. You can raise your right hand and repeat after me, please. I
I, Timothy Parker,
do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
Or affirm
or affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
A couple ceremonial items here. A plaque here for Tom Applegate in appreciation of your service on the Newman City Council 1999 through 2002.
I did it for the money.
And Dave Reed in appreciation of your service on the Newman City Council member 1991 through 2000 and mayor 2000 through 2002.
You mean you're not going to sit here anymore?
I can't.
Oh, jeez. Such a deal.
Okay, moving on our agenda. Item 8, communication from staff. No
I
communication staff.
don't believe there are any items tonight.
Okay, item number 9, items from the public, non-agenda items. While the City Council welcomes and encourages participation in the meetings, it would be appreciated if you would limit your comments to 3 minutes so that everyone may be heard. Matters under the jurisdiction of the council and not on the posed agenda may be addressed by the general public at this time. However, California law prohibits the council from taking action on any matter which is not on the posted agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the City Council. Any non-agenda items?
My name is Lloyd Bigelow, and I'd like to address the council and the new mayor and congratulate everybody on their positions. And when Mayor Reed was giving the invocation, he said something about peaks and valleys. And from where I am in the city of Newman, I'm in a real valley. I'm not on a peak, and I'm not close to being in a peak. I would really like to address the flooding that took place here a couple of weeks ago. And, you know, I'm fairly new to Newman. I've been here since 1997. I wasn't here during the first flood, or not the first flood, but the last big flood they had, which was in 1995. I wasn't here in 1997. I did get to participate in that one, and that one wasn't very much fun. And we haven't really had any water problems since then, except for maybe a few streets that are flooded that were clogged up from leaves and that type of thing. But the rain that we had 2 weeks ago, in no way, shape, or form, should have flooded the city of Newman the way that it did. And you know, I'm naive. I don't understand water. I'm not a farmer. I don't understand the way water works. But I do know that if you're in a valley from the invocation and, you know, everything is clogged up and backed up, that there's nowhere for it to go. I assumed in 1997 to now that our city council, our mayor, our people that are in power were working on this problem. Well, I came to a conclusion that nothing has been done since 1997. The only thing that has been done is the problem has been made worse. We have new developments that are coming into the city. We have a lot of new developments proposed for the city, and they're going to be approved. I mean, they are approved, and they're going to go forth, and I support that. I support all of that. I think the city will be better and it'll be stronger. But nothing has been addressed. I mean, I want to, where is this water going to go to? Where does it go to now? Has the city council actually went out and looked at the way the water flows? Have they looked at our ditches? You know, I didn't understand any of this, and I understand very little today, okay? But there is a problem in this town. Everything from the hills flows through Inyo and Highway 33. It comes down through there. These new developments, where is this water going to? It's going to a little ditch out here that is not maintained. Who's responsible for maintaining that? Is it the state? Is it the federal government? Is it the city of Newman? I don't know. I went out after this I went out and I took a look at where this water goes to. I was shocked at the ditches. Now maybe Newman doesn't have a problem. Maybe they just need to clean out those ditches. I don't know. But when I was out there, I saw 2 basketballs sitting out there. Now, how those basketballs got out in the middle of the dirt in those ditches, I have no idea. But they were there. I doubt very much if there were some kids out there playing basketball. Somehow they got into our drain system and went out there. But the city, I mean, where does the water go? I mean, all these developments go right through that area. Right past F&A Cheese, you've got pipes going in there. And then you've got this water going out into this ditch, and then we have pumps kick on that fill up the ditch, that block the flow of the water. Backs up the whole city. These 3 pumps come on, and it shuts down the city. Who designed it?
I'm gonna interject, Mr. Mayor, if I may, for a point of order. And what you're addressing, Mr. Bigelow, is we are all quaintly aware with it because we all were greatly affected. There was a summation that was recently done in our prior meeting by our Public Works Director addressing all the questions that you're asking. And what I would propose, because this is a non-action agenda item, and you're definitely within your rights to address us, but for the sake of time and understanding where you're coming from, because we're well aware of your circumstances at your dealership, I'm going to propose that comes back to staff and that we can get that information to you, because we do have it to answer those questions directly, particularly when you talk about your nativity of how the water works and how the flows works. We got a comprehensive report from our Public Works. And just also for the sake of time, to move on with progression of our agenda.
Okay.
Because that can be answered, and all of us wanted an explanation. And we had a real thorough report, but we didn't have as many people in the audience at that time for that particular meeting.
Can this be put on the agenda for a later date?
If I can just state, actually, if you recall, Councilmember Parker, we did request that this come back, and there's an extensive report that is being prepared for December 10th to go through this whole issue on the storm drain. And
okay, and that's going to be on the agenda.
Yes, that will be scheduled on the agenda to go through that report and show exactly the questions that you're asking, Mr. Bigelow.
All right. That's all I have to say. It's just that This problem isn't going to go away. It's only going to get worse.
And also, Mr. Bigelow, there was kind of a, I mean, everything was new, the way it worked that day, and there was a couple errors done, but it's one of them deals that until we had a big rain, we didn't really know how those pumps were going to work. And I'm sure at the next meeting, Ernie, our Public Works Director, will have a report, and he can tell us what happened, and because there was problems, but it's kind of like how you going to know if something works until you try it. I mean, when you're talking about electrical things and stuff like that, we'll have the whole report for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Cleve, you said that would be on the December 10th agenda?
That's correct.
Okay.
Any other non-agenda items? Okay, moving on to items from the public, agenda items. Any member of the audience desiring to address the council on a matter on the agenda, please raise your hand or step to the podium at the time when the item is announced by the mayor, in order that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak. Any person addressing the council will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes unless the mayor grants a longer period of time. Please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Any items from the public? Moving on to 10, public hearings. We have none this evening. Item 11, consent calendar. Approval of warrants. Approval of minutes of the November 20th, 2002 special meeting and November 20th, 2002 regular meeting. And number C, second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2002-20, an ordinance of the City Council approving development agreement number 02-2002 for Creek Beach Homes, LP, Walnut Creek Estates.
Mr. Mayor, unless one of my colleagues feel the need to pull.
Just quickly, pardon me, there's an error actually up here and on here. On item B, it should be November 12th special meeting and November 12th regular meeting and November 12th special meeting.
Just a correction
Special
in the
meeting.
date.
It is correct up there. So it's November 12th regular and special meeting rather than November 20th.
Both of them are the 12th.
Yes.
Can I have some direction?
With the error noted, I so move that we approve the consent calendar.
I second that motion.
There's been a motion and approved that we approve the consent calendar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Number 12, regular business. Item A, consideration of method of filling city council vacancy created by the election of Councilmember John Fanazia as mayor. Discussion?
Well, we've gone this route before, and we know that it's a costly thing, and of course, that's something that we have to consider, and those are the things we're looking at. Either we have a special election or it's an appointment. So it's open up to the council to decide what they like to do.
I think the council's always had a really good track record of making appointments. Looking at the cost here, between $8,500 and $11,000, specifically with the what we potentially face here in the near future with our budget. I think we would be foolish to go back this short after having an election and spend that kind of money. I personally would be in favor of going to an appointment.
Tim?
I tend to concur with my colleague in agreeing with the fact that we just had an election. I was part of the appointment process on a previous election term and feel fortunate to have been voted into office. But the cost considerations are extremely great. It's roughly $3 to $4 per registered voter, which could cost us up to $11,000. I think that we've been put in a position to use our discretion to make a beneficial decision on behalf of the citizen. I think we can do that by opening up with an appointment process for a person that would be interested in serving the council.
I also concur on the pointing. In other words, what you're saying, Tim, is open it up for further interest from the community, or what's your...
Yes, I think that would be the fair process. I recall that was the process when I actually sought the appointment after the previous election.
I agree with that.
I'll entertain a motion then.
I move that we, the city council,
goes towards option number 2, which will be an appointment, and hold that appointment open. We have 30 days in which to make an appointment, and we'll advertise that and come back for an appointment by the City Council.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 4-0.
Mayor, just quickly, Tom, I don't know if you have this answer. Can you clarify now? Is that 30 days from today we have to make that appointment?
Today, right.
Okay.
Once the mayor was sworn in.
Which means the council needs to talk about a date for a meeting to actually do that appointment.
That'll be before...
Normally, our second meeting in December, which this time is scheduled for December 24th. I'm not sure if anyone wants to meet on that date, but so we'd have to look at a scheduling.
It's probably unlikely, yeah.
Special meeting. If you could give us a date now that we can shoot for, then we can do that, take care of that in the
Let's
advertising.
move it up to the 17th. December 17th.
December
which is the third
17th.
week of December.
That's on, I can't see the
That's a
calendar.
Tuesday.
Is that okay with everybody? That's fine with me.
Bob?
With the 17th?
Mm-hmm.
That should be fine.
Charles?
That's fine. On the, because I know in the past we've changed it around a few times. Are we going to decide, is it going to be the standard one person, one vote? In the past, it's been a point system, and it's been various.
I like one person, one vote.
Right, I agree. Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm assuming what we will do is we will advertise, get this in the paper as quickly as possible. We will invite people to come out in and fill out an application for citizen service, which is our standard form that we have in our office, and add anything else that they'd like to that. We will present those to the council at that meeting, and then what we've done in the past is invited them to also be here, and there have been questions from the council from them at that time. Is that the procedure that you would like to follow?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
Sounds good.
Yeah, and I
We
just
happy
wanted
with
to
that?
state further, because we just had an election and we had candidate that's in the audience, David Steinbeck, and also our former mayor who ran, people did vote. I'm hoping that there may be an interest there for people that already showed their consideration, as well as anyone else who may be interested.
Okay. So we'll be able to get it too late for this week, next week's paper.
Right.
Yeah. Is that okay with you, Bob?
That's great, yeah.
Okay, moving on. Item 12B, consider approving costs for installation of temporary parking lot. Ernie, I guess this is yours.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I was directed to obtain some cost estimates to install a temporary parking lot at 1347 N Street, which is the empty lot just north of John's Mufflers. This would be a temporary 4-inch thick road-based parking lot. Before that can be installed, the following work has to take place. We need to grade and compact the existing ground. We need to truck in 500 cubic yards of soil. That's pretty deep in some areas. It's low, about a foot. We need to grade and compact the import soil. We need to truck in 300 cubic yards of Class 2 aggregate road base. And then we have to grade and compact this base rock. The costs for grading and compacting are based on the use of a grader and compactor at a rate of $120 per hour for both pieces of equipment. Estimated time of grading and compaction is 50 hours, so that comes to a total of about $6,000. The cost for trucking in the import soil and base rock is $40 a load, 30 truckloads of soil, and we've got 20 truckloads of road base. Total cost is 50 truckloads at 40, be about $2,000. We need to purchase 500 tons of Class 2 aggregate road base. That is at a cost of $7.50 per ton. It comes to $3,750. There will be little need, if any, to purchase import soil because we do have a stockpile over on L Street. The total cost to put in the temporary parking lot is $11,750. And as you can see in the report, there has been no money budgeted for this project. One important issue that I did not include in the report is that if we ever want to make that permanent, you have to start all over again, because you need to install the drainage pipes, you need to have a thicker road base, and so you'd be able to save some of the base rock, but as soon as you get some of the base rock mixed in with the soil, then it's not a good idea to use it again for subgrade. Any questions?
Most of this is outside contracted, or how much work is this actually being performed by our Public Works Department?
This is mostly all contracted out. It would be to different contractors. I'm getting different people to come in and do some grading. Hopefully I can get some of the compaction done by a city employee on a piece of rented equipment. The rest of the trucking and grading and hauling in the base rock all contracted out.
Can you just describe this type of temporary parking lot in layman terms? What is it basically going to be like? I know what the slurry is like when we do the blacktop over the top, but this sounds like something just going to be like a what?
This is pretty much what we did here next to the vet on across the street on Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
You just go in there and compact the soil, bring in about 4 inches of base rock, and compact it, roll it down.
So like a gravel parking lot?
Yes.
That's all it is.
Ernie, on this, I mean, obviously I see that we haven't budgeted for it, first of all, but this is just temporary.
Yes, it is.
When we ultimately, which I hope is soon, sooner than later, when we finally follow through with our plans for over there, this is all going to have to come out.
Yes, it is.
And this is going to be 11,750 for the most part that's down the drain.
That's correct. So I really don't know what the immediate plans are for that area, but for the meantime, if we do want to use it for a parking spot, for parking places, this is the cost that's involved.
Right. Well,
This is,
I don't have any other questions. Other than
it's pretty high. I mean, I hate spending this kind of money just for a temporary deal, but Cleve, we really don't have any money at this time to start the project and the way the state is, and we're still maybe going to try to get some grants or something, but that's still a ways down the road. So
how much do we have in that actual budget for the plaza? Do we have? The only thing we have right now is we budgeted for the design. That's all.
35,000, right?
Right.
that's all we have.
Okay. And what was this going to come out from? This would have to
General
come
fund.
from our general fund, probably contingency fund. There's no other. There's a possibility that, you know, should our street fund be able to handle it, we could, but right now we use all of our LTF funds that we receive from the state for road maintenance and street maintenance, so I don't see that money would be available to do something like this. Okay.
Any other questions for Ernie?
No, thank you, Ernie.
Thank you, Ernie.
Thank you, Ernie.
Bob Naboa, 940 Fresno Street, and certainly I appreciate the financial situation that the city's in and going to be in potentially, but the other thing you want to keep in mind is that there are a lot of businesses that are improving and upgrading and coming to downtown, and the parking issue is only going to get worse. And again, understanding that this is money that's going to have to be spent again. Right now, the need is very, very present. And if we don't do something about the parking situation, we're going to be losing money through tax dollars because people are not going to stay in Newman. They're just going to look for a place to park, and if they can't find one, they're gone. They're out of here. So I'm asking on behalf of all of the merchants that are downtown that you really consider this not just as a temporary fix and money that's going to be literally ripped out later, but as something to help all of the merchants maintain the current level of business that we have, because if there is going to be a turn down, we certainly don't want to make that worse by not having parking available. And so think about that it's not just going to be $11,000 down the drain, so to speak, but it's going to be a lot more when folks continue to drive out of town and don't shop in Newman. So
I think in regards, though, to the term that I use, the down the drain, if we're going to do projects such as, you know, that allow for more parking, I prefer that rather than piecemeal these projects a little bit here and a little bit there, that we do these things correctly. I mean, we've talked about off-street parking in the past. We've, tried to piecemeal things. If we're going to do this plaza, which we've been talking about for years, then I think it's appropriate that we do it correctly. What I would not like to see us do, though, is spend thousands of dollars on projects and just do them, halfway. If we're going to do them, we should do them correctly. And if we're going to go down those roads, we need to go down the roads.
If nothing else, I would like to see that lot at least graded and perhaps brought to a level that the water will run off of it, so that when it's dry, at least you can park on it and not be bumping all over those bumps. But and I appreciate what you're saying, Paul. I think it's important that Charles. I'm sorry, I've been doing that for years. And again, I would just bring that. Don't overlook the dollars that will leave town. That's all I'm asking.
No, I appreciate your concern, Mr. Vaughan. Thank you. And Charles, I agree with you. I hate throwing money down the drain, but if the lot's going to be sitting there for 5-6 years, we need to do something.
Yeah.
Because when it does rain, it's just a mud hole and nobody could park there anyway.
And obviously that'll get us to where we should be thinking. We've got money sitting there. Let's figure out. It's been years since we bought those buildings already that are now vacated. And I know our original intent wasn't to buy those. We had rented them out for a short time, and we started getting in the rental business on those things. Our original intent was to buy that to turn it into something. And I would certainly hate to see us stray from what our original intent was on that. And
I agree, but for the time being, I think we need to do something.
If I could state possibly another option here that hasn't been discussed, and Ernie might need to help me out on this, but perhaps we could grade it out to smooth it out for now, as has been mentioned by Mr. Navoa, simply grade it and compact the dirt that is there, and then maybe hold off until this early spring when we get the initial report back on our plaza project and see how that might be phased and what might be available. Maybe we can find the money to actually pave a portion of that to create additional parking that wouldn't have to be done at a later date. That means, that we would probably have to go through this winter without using it, and it will be a mess once we get rain in on that dirt in there. And it won't help our situation. As Mr. Navoa has alluded to, there are some other businesses coming in that center block there that they're going to create some parking needs, and that's one of the concerns there. But I'm just throwing that out as another option that you could consider, I think, at this time. Ernie, is that possible to just simply grade it and compact it at this time, and at least so it's not, maybe looks a little bit better, and at least when it's dry it could possibly be parked on, or would it be able to be parked on when it's dry?
Yeah, I believe so. I think we can do the grading, do it in about a couple of days, compact it. And we do have some of the asphalt grindings that they did when they did streetscape. We can spread that out.
We can bring that ourselves in, right? And spread it out.
On the cost, Ernie, though, are we still looking at the $120 per hour, and you're saying 2 days?
Yes.
Probably for the grading, right?
Right.
For the grading and compacting.
So we're looking at about almost $2,000?
Yeah, less than $2,000.
And the crew can bring in the grindings, and
yes,
we can spread that ourselves, huh?
Yes, we would keep the cost to a minimum.
So everybody think about that.
That sounds reasonable.
Well, I had just a thought. I know right now, I don't know how many parking places are being taken downtown by people that work there, and if there's some way to, which I consider prime parking areas, if there's some way to get those people that work downtown to park in a parking lot or something like this and leave those other areas open, I think it would help the businesses. The people that do work downtown need some place to park, but it would be better if there was a parking lot for downtown workers and then leave the prime areas in front of the stores open for people that do shop downtown. So it's just a thought, but I still think we need the parking. But I'm just saying that businesses ought to be thinking about getting their employees, encouraging their employees to park in that kind of parking area.
Seems like we've talked about this before, and it's not getting any better, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe if we had a better place for them to park.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's
That
right.
would help.
They need someplace to park.
I agree. Any other questions for Ernie?
No, I don't have any questions. I just wanted to, I think there were two valid statements made. One by, particularly the money we just appropriated was $35,000 for RPM. We need to get that report back for the Plaza project because that's something that we focus on. My colleague here mentioned also about plans coming to in a timely fashion. Whether or not we'll come up with the funds or how much the plaza is going to actually cost, we won't know. But we've already invested $35,000, which is practically 3 times what we're looking at here with this 11,750. And when Mr. Bob Navarro was speaking, I was thinking, where could we find some other funds? And I thought about the business surcharge fund when you said that because it's for businesses, but then that's kind of been drained a lot lately. If we can come back with something to mitigate the cost, that we can at least get it to look better before any more pending storms might wash it away, and it may be a little smoother. The $2,000 I think you came up with roughly, it might be something foreseeable we could spend right now. But I kind of agree with what Charles said in terms of this is quite a bit to kind of sink into a lot that we know is just going to be temporary. So let's table that and have staff bring us back something that may be more.
Well, do we want
anything that we attempt is going to cost more money, Tim, and I don't know where we're going with it.
Yeah, I think what Ernie has said is for under $2,000, we can bring in additional soil and grade that, and add the asphalt paving.
Grindings.
Couldn't think of the word. To that and make it reasonable. The thing we need to understand is what we will probably need to look at is when it is very wet, we're probably going to have to find a way to block that off so that vehicles do not go on there. Is that it won't be able to go in there. So.
But can we do this? So if we go down that road, so be it. But what's going to happen is when that little area goes away in the near future, we're going to be back in the same position that we were before this came up. Obviously, we've had this parking issue that's come up I don't know how many times. You know, we purchased or we leased that area over there next to the veterinarian. I mean, if we're going to commit ourselves to spending money, then obviously that's saying that we have a problem. And if, having said that, then we should probably bring it back for the entire council. Ernie, have representatives from the business community and figure out once and for all what in the world. It's great to have a parking problem because it means that our businesses are being shopped in. But, you know, 2,000 here, a little bit there, a little bit there. Let's discuss our parking issue because it's apparently not going to go away, and we need to bring it back.
I want to just state, because of that area where everyone is real familiar with it now, when you drive down Highway 33, you can look straight through and you can see the theater. So the question is that's kind of being posed is, do we want a real nice big parking lot there while you see our cars parked there? Because we're talking about investing money correctly. Or do we want to invest where we've already dedicated $35,000 to see a plaza that's going to be there, a nicety there to make our city attractive to get people to come into downtown. So that's kind of like what we're faced with. So I'm for us.
So can we bring back what you had said, but also in the near future here, let's look at the other thing with parking.
Cleve, how long till the report is back from the?
I don't have the timeline with me, but I believe it's going to be probably March, April when that will be finalized.
Rainy season will be over by then. I think we need to do something temporary for now too, because it's no good like it is.
And with those $2,000, we're not talking the whole lot. I'm just talking a small section because it's not. I mean, you're going to have to build up a section where they can park in and kind of drain it over to the deepest part of the lot so that all the water would drain away. That's about all you can do for that amount. I don't know what else I could come back with you other than, you know.
When you say a small amount, roughly about how many parking spaces?
Well, I'm talking about, say, a strip wide enough where you could park cars both ways and be able to. I would say what about 20, 60, about a 70-foot wide strip from the alley to the highway. That lot there by the vets it cost us about almost $5,000 to install. And that was because a lot of the crews did a lot of the work and did all the trenching and put in some of the water lines in case they ever wanted to do any landscaping. But see, that one is almost ready. Very minimal effort would be made to make it into a permanent parking lot.
Right.
Okay.
The small parking lot by the barber shop in Foster's, about 10 years ago, cost $60,000 to install.
Wow.
Yes, they're very expensive. So this, I wouldn't know what else to come back with you with the next report other than either you get a full-blown permanent parking lot for a lot of dollars that we would need to go to our engineer and have him write up bids and specs on it, because you'd have to go out to bid, or do this for this amount, and that would be by me personally involving different contractors and working with them so that I would stay out of the bid and specifications procedure. Yeah, or for $2,000 have them grade it and bring in those asphalt grindings and at least make some area where it wouldn't be so muddy that at least some people could use it to park, overflow parking.
I'm not opposed to doing that.
Direction? Comments, motions?
Well, I'm not going to make a haste, but I'm proposing option 3 for the simple remedy, because I see it as half doing things. I mean, we're putting a little bit of fix on something again, and I'm not going to make my decisions along those lines. So if we're going to at least make it where it's flat and it's an area where it's not looking like it is now with the potholes and everything, then I could see that with city staff handling it. But to just keep putting money in it and then knowing that we're going to have to come back again, I've seen how that works already.
Right, and you
I'm not gonna
can't go
travel that
in,
road.
and without knowing, without having a design as to what's going to go there, you can't put in your drainage pipes and your valley gutters.
Right.
Because it's got to go to design.
have to make-
So
wait
you
for the
can't
report
do
to
that
come
at
back
this
to know
point
anything.
and say, well, at least do that and then build up from there.
Right.
You can't do it.
Right. Okay. So we're going to approve 2,000, not to exceed 2,000 for the temporary?
That sounds agreeable to me.
Okay. I move
A motion?
I move that we approve an amount not to exceed $2,000 for temporary grading and compacting over at, what's the address over there? 1347 N Street.
There's second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
This will
Item-
not be effective during the rainy season, right?
No, we're gonna try to get on that as soon as our Christmas decorations are up. I'm gonna see if I can start that contractor to come in with this grader and start
While
it
it's dry.
probably by Monday. Thanksgiving is
Okay.
almost here.
Okay, item number 12C, informational item, street tree program. Guess that's yours also, Arnie.
Yes, sir. Public Works Department is responsible for maintaining 3,233 street trees, and we've also have 283 park trees that we need to prune and maintain. The tree species are varied, and with the majority of the street trees being moraine ash, raywood ash, modesto ash, Chinese pistache, Bradford pear, and Chinese tallow. And we'll have a presentation here so that you can see and identify the trees for your information. The Public Works Department has a limited workforce and a demanding workload that has not been able to provide adequate tree care and pruning for the past several years. The extent of our street work is pruning out the mistletoe and taking out the low branches that obscure visibility. With some of the trees in the older subdivisions already getting up to 12, 15 years old in maturity, the need for the pruning is immediate. Without the shaping and thinning out of all the branches, especially on the raywood ashes, the trees are in danger of being pushed over, especially in high winds. And especially those that are planted in lawn areas that are regularly watered with automatic sprinklers. Some of those even, the water is so bad that some of the trees, the roots rot on it, and so they just go right on over. We budgeted $20,000 for tree trimming and pruning for this fiscal year. The cost to hire a professional tree service is estimated at $125 to $150 per hour. The maximum this will get you is a 3-man crew. You have 2 people pruning, you have 1 guy handling all the brush and chipping it and hauling it away. The cost, at a cost of $1,200 per day, the budgeted amount would be used up in 16 days. And that would include 4 non-pruning days due to the 3 hours per day of travel time charges. You got to pay them since the time they leave till the time they get back to their business site. Public Works Department is proposing to use most of this money to hire part-time employees to assist with the tree pruning and trimming of the younger trees. The new hires would be trained in proper pruning techniques and would be working under the direct supervision of Public Works supervisory personnel. They would be hired at a rate of $10 to $12 per hour, depending on their experience. City of Newman would benefit by this action for the following reasons. 1, 15,000 would allow 52 pruning days for a 3-person crew versus 12.5 days for a tree service pruning days. We'd get more pruning hours per day because the travel time doesn't apply. And a biggie is the tremendous amount of money and time that would be saved by not having to chip and haul the brush away. The Bertolotti disposal would be picking all that up. And 4, I believe the money spent for pruning would most likely remain here locally. We would save an amount of approximately $5,000 to hire a professional tree trimming service to trim and prune trees that have grown too large for our crews to work on them, to handle in a safe manner. And this would also include abatement of mistletoe, especially in the large Modesto ash trees. I want to show you the pictures of those trees and then answer any questions that you may have. These are Chinese tallow trees over in Canyon Brook, Creek Canyon area. As you notice, they're really heavy with branches. They need to be thinned out. Next one. Here's some of the raywood ash trees on Driscoll Avenue. Now, about 5 years ago, with some employees that I had from GAIN and other programs as such, we pruned these out, and you'll notice that they're neatly trimmed from the trunk, and so they're in need of pruning again, but it's only minor. Next. These are raywood ash trees over on Q Street. As you can see, they're in need of pruning. Next one, please. Chinese pistache trees, and that's on Canyon Creek Drive. That's what those look like. Next. Raywood ash trees on Oak Canyon Drive, and that's what those look like. There's some moraine ash trees mixed in there with those. Next. Again, more raywood ash trees over on Sandy Creek Drive, and again, as you can see, the limbs are really thick and low in some areas, especially by those cars down there. Next. Bradford pear trees. This is on Langston and Taylor, and as you can see, that's how big they get, and then they start spreading out, and that's how the trees in our downtown area are going to be getting to. So we need to shape them and start keeping them in a confined area. Next. Other Bradford pear trees, and of course that's on Patrick Drive. You can see how wide they get. Next. This is a mulberry tree, and you can see that those mulberry trees go all over the place. That's not a approved street tree, but we have quite a few of those around town that we have to contend with. Next. This is a holly oak tree, and that's over there by the Catholic Church, and we have a few of those and dire need of pruning. Next. That's a great big pecan tree over on Merced and P Street, and the biggest problem with this tree is that it drips a lot of sap during the summer months, and it gets all over cars, so it's really messy. Next. This is a sycamore tree over at Mariposa NR. These are the big trees that we need assistance with a professional tree service. Next. This is a huge conifer, some type of conifer tree in the city park. And as you can see, we need somebody to climb that. You're not going to get a boom up that high. Next. And this is an elm tree. And those also, they need to climb up on those. And the biggest problem with these are the elm beetle. If we don't inject those every year, all the leaves, the elm beetles will eat up all the chlorophyll, and they look like the tree has died. Next. And this is a male pistachio, and that's just down the street here, and that's also in dire need of pruning. And that's how big those Modesto ash trees have gotten over in the T Street area. Those are all the ones that we're going to be asking for the assistance of professional tree service. And I think that's about it, right? Any more? No, there's a few more huge Modesto ash at Merced and T Street. No, Raywood ash trees. Oh, okay, these are really huge. Those are over in the Upper Road area. I saved all the big trees for the end to show you where those are the ones that we're going to need to contract out. And
Forgot about those, Ernie.
yes, any questions?
Questions for Ernie?
Ernie, I had a question as far as,
Yes, sir.
it seems like we have a lot of different varieties of trees.
Yes, we do.
And have we found that there's some that would be better suited for planting rather than others, and eliminated the ones that seem to cause the most trouble?
Well, it seems that that's been an ongoing battle for years, because when you find a tree that you think, oh, this is really growing well, and you start planting those type, all of a sudden some type of bug will come and attack it, or something will go wrong with it. And so if you just stick to one species, all of a sudden if one goes, then you've lost all the trees. So yeah, there's some that cause root problems. There's some that are drop a lot of leaves that are really dirty. There's some that like that starburst that they plant a lot in Turlock, and those are also really messy with those spiky balls that they drop. So, you know, we do try to look for the best trees that are suited, and also they need to be suited for our type of soil, because some of the trees that, like for example, the tulip tree, we tried planting some of those in the Canyon Creek area. Those things are still twigs after 4 or 5 years, and but they grow really well in sandy soil. So we're learning, and we're trying to improve on it.
Well, the one thing I noticed, they planted some trees by my house, and they actually, I guess, drilled down next to the side of the tree and made it possible for you to put the water down to the root system.
Yes, sir.
And that really gave it the tree an opportunity to grow at a much faster rate.
Yes.
Unbelievable rate.
Yes, we do. We'll stick down a watering tube down about 4 or 5 feet with perforated pipe, and that way when you water it, the roots will go down to get that water instead of coming up trying to get it from your lawn. And because there's some people who really have problems with tree roots in their lawn areas.
I wanted to make a comment since we're talking about trees. We have a comprehensive tree outline plan here that we actually received a report for a couple of years, addressing some of your questions, Bob, particularly with the type of trees that work best in our city. our planning director, Bob Orchard, was responsible for that when it came in with a question. I did have a question for you, Ernie.
Yes, sir.
You have this listed as an informational item. However, what you're proposing, I think, will require some action from the council when you propose the hiring of some part-time employees, which would become part-time city employees. That's what you're requesting here in part of your report, correct? The $10 to $12 an hour in staff.
Yeah, the only reason where it's kind of a gray area is the fact that they're temporary positions. They're not permanent part-time positions. And,
Okay.
you know, we're open to that. We looked at that trying to determine, but if the council would like to direct us on that, that's...
Well, I think it's innovative. I personally, looking at it, my opinion is that it's innovative. I like the report.
Good.
I also would take it a step further. There's something that Tom Paul has mentioned to me several times about like an apprentice type nature where I see this, where you can bring in, I know you're looking for some experience, but you're also looking for people that you can kind of bring in at these wages to say, hey, this is what I need you to do, kind of give them some instruction. And he's mentioned this several times, which I thought was a good idea for summer programs, but I can see that incorporated in this report, so I can see it moving along.
Yeah, thank you.
That was really the only question that I was going to ask was regard to the employees. I was wondering whether or not they were going to be temporary as to part-time.
Yes.
But the thing that I, certainly would like to see is, I mean, it's apparent that we have some problems that we need to take care of. But if we're going to train some of these folks here, I think that we need to stay on top of it, because I don't want to see us 10 years down the road or 15 years down the road and having you or whoever comes back in the future saying we've got this gigantic problem again. So it'd be nice to certainly stay on top of it. But
yes, we want to begin this program and stay with it until we catch up. There's a lot of catching up to do.
and this would start. I don't see it in here. This would start when, Ernie?
I have to wait until my men get free from all the holiday, all the decorations, all the lights, because I do want my people to be supervising.
You say in here that it would allow for 52 pruning days.
For a three-man crew.
Right. How long does it take to actually train them? Because it says above here a little bit that you would train. They would be trained in proper pruning techniques and so forth. And then how long would that be? And does that take away, since they're being trained, they're obviously getting paid per this hour, so what's the...
We will train them with actual tree pruning, and they will be on-the-job training, and it shouldn't take more than 2 hours to get them all trained, and away we go.
Okay.
Any other questions for Ernie?
The other thing just to mention about this, I believe, Ernie, is that there are certain times that are better to do the pruning too, so we definitely want to get to this before the warmer weather starts to set into the spring, to do a major portion of this before that starts. So that's kind of a timing of what we would want to move on. Is that correct, Ernie?
That is correct. Now is the pruning season. It just began, and that's why they're pruning all the apricots and peach trees, and now that the trees are somewhat dormant.
You'd showed residential areas primarily. As far as downtown, would there be some trimming of some?
Oh, yes,
areas?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
good.
we will.
It'll include all areas in the city.
It's not as, they don't need as much, but. Direction?
Well, seeing that they're already budgeted for this 20,000, I think the report is innovative. I would just give a concurrence with the Public Works report.
Thank you.
Is that okay with you, Bob?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ernie.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Ernie.
Item 12D, adopt resolution number 2002, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the City of Inglewood Parking Management Bureau for parking enforcement, processing, and collection.
May I
Chief
handle
Brady.
this? Great.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. The police department was notified in July that our current parking management processing provider, Stanislaus State University Police Department, would no longer be processing citations that were non-university. And we have till December 31st to find a new vendor. We've been with this organization since 1998. They had an outstanding service, but since they were no longer going to be processing parking citations other than their own, we started looking at the public and private vendors for this, and we settled on the City of Inglewood as our vendor of choice. We will be able to provide the same level of service and at about the same rates that we're currently we're charged by the Stanislaus State University. They provide an outstanding level of service from what we've been able to find, good reputation from others that are utilizing their service. Most of the cities in Merced and Stanislaus County also came to the same conclusion and are also signing contracts to the same vendor. For this, the department is recommending that the City Council authorize City Manager to enter into an agreement with the City of Inglewood for this service. And I'll answer any kind of questions you may have regarding that.
Questions for Chief Brady?
The only thing that stood out immediately with me was that it was a Southern California city, and I noticed the other cities that are contracting with them as well. We couldn't find any that were in closer proximity.
We tried originally to try to align ourselves with the City of Modesto, but they chose, because they do their own parking management, their own citations, and they chose not to take on to that service.
Any of the other cities.
And the other ones were private vendors. Unfortunately, most of those are down south, and so we were looking at somebody that could provide the same level of service. And the municipality, the public sector, was much easier to work with. Also, what we're looking at is a level of service and actually taking into account the public aspect of this and how it would be processed. One of the things you may have an interest in is that they are looking at, because there are so many cities signing up for this service, that they will have, if somebody contests a citation, we hang on to them for 21 days here for an initial review. Right. But after that, they end up going to the parking management people. And if somebody contests a citation, which we only had one since 1998 with Stanislaus State, but if somebody chose to do that, they would bring in an outside judge, a hearing officer, to be able to handle that for us, which should be local. The lowest they have to go would be either possibly Merced or Turlock. So,
I've seen your stats on this. How many, roughly, 400 or 500 parking tickets a year in our town?
A little bit less than that, yes.
A little less.
Yes.
Average cost, do we know?
Yes.
I know it's probably...
Basically, we are looking at, as far as the vendor's concerned.
No, I saw that $1.50
okay.
per ticket, up to $7.50,
right.
$12.50, depending
right.
on. But like a parking ticket that was placed on someone's car, is it still roughly $25?
It's about $25, and it's interesting you might say that, because on the 10th I'll be bringing back the fee schedule to go along with this, so we can talk then.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Brady? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Direction?
I move that we adopt the resolution 2002 next to number authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the City of Inglewood Parking Management Bureau for parking enforcement processing collection agreement.
Second.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Item number 12E, consider purchase of City of LaPel pins.
Just quickly, this has come back from council members from time to time that we are almost out. I don't know, we have very few of the existing ones that we've had probably for, what, 10 years, Judy, we've had those? Or longer than that, so it was in the 80s, I guess, when we had those made. So we've had them for a long time, but we are pretty much out of them now. And the question has come back. Judy did some things to look into the cost, and she's presented that information for you here, depending on how many we buy. These would be a little bit different. They would be a little bit larger. Rather than be round, they would be the cornucopia shape, which would change them. Other than that, the design would be the same as what we have now. This is kind of preliminary, just to show you what the cost would be and get direction from council if you want these new pins, if you want some made up.
Questions for Cleve?
I know I brought this up because oftentimes when we go to the conferences, our colleagues are passing out pins for their cities. And I do like the fact that it's the design of the cornucopia instead of just circling, so it will be actually dragged out with our city insignia there.
Correct.
And it's been 10 years since the last time any city pins were
Judy
purchased?
said it was the mid-'80s, or in the 80s sometimes, when we actually did those other ones. So it's been longer than 10 years. Yeah, probably 20 years.
The 7/8 size, is this the actual size here on
Yes, what you have in your report is the
small is the actual
yeah,
size?
that's what's showing the that's the example they give us to kind of show what it would be. So it'd be a little bit bigger than what our current one is.
Any other questions, comments?
One, I mean, obviously, we've alluded to our budget earlier on. First of all, what, would this just come out of the city council budget from the general fund?
Correct.
I mean, they're nice. I can't say that about it, but, you know, at this point, you know, we've been conscious lately of what our financial situation is, and, you know, we know as well as anybody that the state last time around, they came to local government looking for any revenues that they could find. And I mean, I think at this point, I don't know that this is a luxury that we can necessarily afford. I mean, I know it's doesn't seem like a gigantic amount, but you know, the thing that we had discussed with this parking lot a few minutes ago was the fact that, you know, dollars, and yeah, they're nice, no doubt about that, but I mean, basically we're giving them away at conferences, and you know, at this point I don't know what the return is for the dollars.
Bob?
Well, the thing you'll find if you go to some of the meetings and conventions that we've gone to, that everyone else is giving them out, and of course I think we're going to be different if we go there and we don't have the pins to give out. And I'm in favor of it. I think that it promotes our city, and people are very proud when they get them, and they wear them. And you know, maybe it is that there is a cost here. There's no question, but there's a cost for everything. And I just think that we should have these and have them available for the councilmen to give out.
How many do we currently have, Judy?
Just a handful.
Not too many.
Probably a handful, yeah.
And I would say too, in agreement with Bob, that looking at this cost and the consideration, taking into account our budget situation, this is more, I'm looking in a nominal sense of what it's going to cost. If we selected a minimum of $500, roughly $650, as opposed to other things that we've spent money on trying to promote our cities, because that's part of what the conventions are, is, hey, come down and take a look at Newman, stop in Newman and bring your checkbook, leave some dollars there. I think this is a small price, particularly considering since the last time it was in the 80s. Maybe we might get another 20 years out of these. So I would go with the middle range of what it looks like, a quantity of 500 for the size that is 7/8. Is it $730?
$735, I believe, right,
$735.
Judy? Plus shipping. $4 per 100, so you're talking another $40 probably, $35, $40.
I agree that, you know, we just get the minimum order, and it is good PR work. Maybe we can hand them to the right people. Get some grants somewhere along the line. Hey, I got a pin from Newman.
With that, Mr. Mayor, I move that we consider purchase of the city label pens with the amount not to exceed $800 for the 7/8 size.
Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Passes 3-1. Item number 13.
Just quickly, what is the better quality of the two? And what we looked at is the darker colored one on. It'll probably look a little different. This is off a color printer, and but it will actually have the gold look that our current ones do. So it'll be very style and color. Yeah, they'll be very similar to what we currently have.
Is the price different? It's the same on the.
Yeah, the other one is a painted on process that is not as good. I think you have to run the potential of it chipping off and not being as well. So the one we're looking at is the better of the two processes.
Okay.
So.
That's the one that's for $735, right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Does everybody understand that then?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Cleve. Item 13, items from the city manager.
I don't think I have anything else to add tonight. Yeah.
Number 14, items from city council members. Tim, we'll start with you.
I don't have anything specifically, new mayor. Just glad to be able to roll my sleeves up and go back to work. Thank you.
Charles?
Just thank you. I look forward to serving on the council again. I know the only one up here from the council that I've worked with is Bob. That was enjoyable, and I certainly look forward to working with Tim and with John both, and with everybody.
Bob? I'd just like to congratulate those people that were elected and wish us all the best of luck and have a good council and do a lot of good things for this city. It's a great city, and let's continue to do good work. That's all I have.
I'd just like to thank everybody that had confidence in me, and I will try my best. Yes, Bob, I know. I'd like to acknowledge little Miss Newman, Miranda Romo, for showing up tonight, and also Miss Newman, Sarah Perry. We didn't get a chance to get them up here, but thank you very much for coming. I'd like to thank my parents for coming, John and Eva Fantasia, and my wife Carol, for putting up with everything. Just beginning. And that's all I had, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.
Congratulations, Parker. Good job. Got a little faster. Sorry.